me on my way now. You just give me a...
Don't really hone in or nor teach you. I remember even as a young girl, when people would say, pray for me, in my mind, I was like, and it sounded so like, right? But like, you have that power. Like, seriously, I don't.
But which sparked my interest, right? Because the title alone captured me and drew me in. But while I was reading the book, it wasn't just about the title. It was more to it than the title. It was more in depth. By the time I'm talking about this. The lips of wisdom are closed only to the ears of the understanding. When the student is ready to listen, the teacher will speak. And this is about to be a really educational segment. I'm a student today, and I'm going to take notes, and I hope everybody take notes. Welcome to the Rich Talk Podcast. I'm your host, Rich, and today I have a guest, a beautiful soul, a writer, an orator, a content creator, an interviewer. And when I tell you this woman is so precious, there's so much I can say about her as far as adjectives, but you know, I'll let her introduce herself. Welcome to the Rich Talk Podcast, by the way. Mm-hmm. My guest today is no other than my homegirl, B.F GLENN. How you doing, Queen?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for having me. That was a powerful introduction.
Yeah, you know where I got that from, right?
Where?
The Kabbalion.
Hello.
We're gonna talk about
that. I like that.
We're gonna talk about
a
that.
powerful introduction. So thank you for that.
Yes. How you doing?
I'm wonderful. How was your day?
I'm good. You tell the people how we first met.
Absolutely. So we first met. It wasn't too long ago when I did an interview on you for DMV's Illest Barber Talk podcast, and I really enjoyed that conversation so much. Within the first couple of seconds, I knew that you were in tune, you were aligned. And I was like, this is someone that I need to talk with more. And so when you mentioned I think you were about to do your first episode or about to shoot your first episode. Yeah. And so when you mentioned that, I think we talked about possibly having me on the show. And so I'm grateful for you to have me here.
I'm grateful for you being here.
Thank you.
To be honest
Thank
with
you.
So, how did you hook up with DMV? Matter of fact, shout out to the DMV Illest Barbers for introducing me to B.F GLENN. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because we are somewhat, somehow spiritually inclined. And when she called me to do this interview, she said she really meditated and prayed on it.
I did.
And so it's a reason why she's here. So how did you hook up with DMV Illest Barbers?
Absolutely. So I write and edit by trade. Okay. And so that's just my passion. It's just what I do. And DMV's Illest was in the process of creating a magazine to talk about their barbers. And they needed a writer on staff. And so they reached out to someone that I knew, Cookie, who was a hairstylist, and she did her magazine and I wrote for her. So it basically was a word of mouth. And I linked up through them that way. I wrote the articles. I interviewed the barbers, so much like I interviewed you. Mm-hmm. I did the same thing and then put their stories in written form for the magazine. And so we just hit it off ever since. And I've just kind of been doing different things for them ever since.
Okay. If somebody asked you to describe yourself, right, as far as what you do, what would you tell them?
So, good question. I knew my purpose early on. Okay. So writing and editing has always been in my blood. I used to tell people that I was born with a pen in my right hand and a notepad in the other, because ever since I was a little girl, I was reading, I was writing, I was journaling. I wanted at one point to be the youngest author that ever existed. And I published my first book. I know you have the books here that were published months ago, but there was a book before that.
Oh, was
It was, but it was in 2010, and it was under my real name, my government name, which I'm not giving, but it was under there. And I was 26, 27 at the time. And this was when Amazon and Barnes and Noble were just allowing people to self-publish on their platform. So I don't know how much you want me to dive into that, but there's a difference between going with the traditional publishing house and going the self-publishing route. It's almost like a independent musician and someone who so I ended up self-publishing on their platforms, and then I got pregnant. And so I dropped that dream because I was more of in the erotica space at the time. And I felt like as a mom, especially a new mom, that wasn't appropriate. And so I put like heavy stigma on myself. To this day, I still enjoy writing and editing. That is what I enjoy doing. I feel like that is my purpose, but not so writing and editing for me, helping others to bring their voice. So I help a lot of people write their memoir, and not so the difference between a memoir and an autobiography. An autobiography chronicles your life. I grew up here, I went here, and it's just a chronicle.
ABC, all the way.
Correct.
Gotcha.
A memoir is discussing an event. So you see the Michelle Obamas and, the other people that have their memoirs, you will see that they may touch on certain aspects of their life, but they're really focusing on a theme, an event that happened, and they're trying to inspire people from that. So I do help people write their memoirs. A lot of people want to write a memoir about a tragedy that may have happened in their life, and everybody has a story. What my goal is to not just write about the tragedy, get it out for you, but you can't stop there because life goes on. So you don't want to just like dish your problem on the reader, because I'm a firm believer in energy. And so when you read something, I don't care what it is, it could be a Facebook post, it could be a book, it could be anything. That energy that person has put into that message translates to you. So sometimes you might read something and you like, at the end of it, you don't know why you feel down or irritated or angry, but that energy just transferred to you. And so what I do with people that have gone through traumatic events in life is that I help them tell their story. And in them writing their first draft, I encourage them to write everything. If you want to say shit, damn motherfucker, you did this, my uncle did it. If you want to say names, you can. But my professional expertise comes in helping you clean that up so it turns it around. So that, yes, you're telling your story, but it's also leading people who have gone through that into how to get out of it and not staying stuck in that place. And so that's something that I find when I talk to people and they want to write their story, they want to write it, but they don't see that spin. And that's where I come in, and that's where I enjoy helping people. And so if you ask me who I am, what I do is write and edit, and then I'm a mom. And I had to learn that. I had to learn that it's okay. It's okay. That comes second. And so those are the two loves that I have. And that's it.
So how many books have you written to date? You said
4.
You wrote one in 2010, and then
Correct.
The other 3, when did you write them?
I wrote those consecutively last year. So August, September, maybe October.
And what inspired you to do that so fast?
They came. Sorry, my silliness kicks in because I snap twice, then you snap twice. so no.
You ever heard of the mirroring text?
I was just watching something about that too. I did.
Okay.
So in meditation last year was a very critical point in my life. It was the most awakened I became to date. And during a meditation session one day, and I'm talking about I'm home a lot of times, so I had a lot of time to meditate. Sometimes I wouldn't come out of meditation. It was like go right back into meditation. But I was in meditation, and the download happened.
Okay.
And it had not only the names of the books, but kind of what they touched on. And
Gotcha.
they needed to be quick, easy reads, but it also needed to be inspirational. So totally different from the book that I published in 2010, but they were downloads, and that's how they came to me.
Okay, because when I read, all right, we're going to talk about the first book,
Okay.
which sparked my interest, right?
Okay.
Because the title alone
Uh-huh.
captured me and drew me in.
Okay.
But while I was reading the book, it wasn't just about the title.
Uh-huh.
It was more to it than the title. It was more in depth. By the time I'm talking about
Uh-huh.
I'm talking about this book right here, The Cunt Who Will Not Leave My
Absolutely.
House.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Let's talk
Say it with your
about
chest. Yeah.
Let's talk about that one.
Absolutely.
You know, when I started reading the book, it started off with a lady that she was so nice to, right? You know what I'm saying? Certain things that she was supposed to do business wise, she didn't do because of her heart.
Right.
But it came back to burn her. But while you reading it, it gave she taught you what she learned from that in a spiritual sense, and how she translated whatever happened to her into her life, or into where she became a better person at that. You know, so.
Right.
Talk about, you know,
Absolutely.
I know I didn't do the description.
You did
any form
amazing.
of
And let me know
justice.
that you read it. Hey, let me know that you read it. And also, I know we had a conversation before.
Exactly.
So To the Cunt That Would Not Leave My House is, first off, it's available on Amazon. All the books are available on Amazon. I'm trying to get them on Barnes & Noble in audiobook. So that's coming.
Okay.
But if you wanted to type it in, can you hold it up really quick? You don't type in the U. So it's an asterisk, and anybody that is in the book field understands that if you want to put a curse word or an offensive word, you don't type it out if you want Oprah or somebody
Got you.
to be holding it one day.
I'm learning something new.
Okay. so you put the asterisk in for the U. But that was written because I went in 2019, I divorced my son's father.
Okay.
And I moved out.
Okay.
I started over, and I moved into this really beautiful community that not only had tennis courts, basketball courts, and playground. It was 1 mile from the beach.
Okay.
So therefore, it was a really hot commodity. It was something beautiful for my son and I to stay in, especially when he was with me. And it was a condo. It was a 2-story condo, absolutely beautiful, and it was newly renovated. I realized that I wanted to then purchase a single family home. Mm-hmm. And so a year later, I purchased a single family, the one that I'm in now, but I rented out. Instead of selling, I rented out the condo. Because like I said, it's really nice. And it's in a military type community, so it's a lot of renters. It was easy to rent. The first year that I rented it, it was absolutely amazing. Mm-hmm. The tenant paid on time. All I did was list it on Zillow because I said I could do this. Yeah, mm-hmm. I listed it on Zillow. The lady came in. She was a nurse practitioner. COVID hit, but the lady came in and she paid on time every single time. When she left, another tenant came in.
Okay.
And she had 3 kids, and she had a sob story. And me being like, I can help you. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's where my heart is. I can help you. You know, I know what it's like, you know, to not be where you want it to be. Mm-hmm. And she's younger than me about 10 years. And, you know, and I just was like, I can help you. So she came in, and this lady was late from month 1. Okay. But she was maybe a day or 2 late. Okay. And then it started to become a week or 2 late. And at the time, the guy I was with and one of my good friends were like, kick her out. Like, no, that, you know, she wouldn't play that. And I'm like, well, you know, at least I'm getting paid. It's okay. I could, you know, I can flip it because I'm thinking because I have the means to do so that I should. Like, I'm helping her out. When really,
with your heart. There you go.
You a businessman, so you understand.
Trust me, I done fell victim to a lot of that.
Okay.
A lot of that trying to use my heart when I know that I got to separate my heart from my business. So I get it.
I love that, you know, and I'm learning that, and I have learned that, and so that was a lesson. And so
people would take advantage of you.
And I didn't know that.
They would take advantage of your heart because you go out there operating from a source.
Correct.
Source of purity.
Correct.
Everybody don't project that form of source.
No.
You know, so sometimes it's painful, but and a lot of people will change who they are because of that. But you know, you have to remain from that soul, because that's how your rewards come in.
Correct. Yeah. And you know, and that was a lesson.
Yeah.
That was a lesson. And so so anyway, come to find out, the community that the condo was in enforced a rule that if you rent, you need to have a renter's license. And they put that up on their website during COVID. No one's checking for that. I didn't know that, but this woman did. When you don't have so the renter's license is only in place to make sure that slumlords, which I'm not, slumlords are not putting tenants in unhealthy or hazardous conditions. My place was newly renovated. I was giving her and her children gifts for Christmas, and like, you know, like, go out to eat. Here's $100, you know, whatever. I was that, okay?
You that type of landlord?
I was.
Can I move in your spot? So you was, right?
I was.
Emphasis on the was.
I was.
She messed that up for everybody.
Oh, she did. She messed it up for everybody. Anytime she had an issue, I was on it. You know, just again, even accepting late payment. So the renter's license is there to protect the tenant. Okay. She didn't need protection. Okay. So because I wasn't that type. But when it came time for her to move out, she did not want to move for whatever reason. Obviously, because I'm nice. I wasn't charging the max that I can charge, right? I'm just like, okay, I'm helping her. So she didn't want to move. Anyway, she ended up taking me to court and sued me for $30,000.
She took
me to court.
When she owe you?
When she owes me. She took me to court for $30,000 saying, you were never licensed and I want my money back.
So how did that play out?
The courts acted dumb. Like, I mean, I had even...
So this side, the court sided with her?
Correct. Okay, so this is something that I learned also. A lot of the laws, the way that they're set up, are one, they're kind of murky. So when you're on the tenant end, yeah, it feels good because you're protected, because you have all these laws in place that protect you. When you're on the landlord end, it doesn't protect you so much because you got a lot of people that will try to take advantage of people with their money or be slumlords. So the law doesn't really favor somebody that's really trying to help somebody. So she really took advantage of the system. She tried to sue me, or she did. She did sue me for $30,000. And mind you, she was 3 months late at this time. So, and the law states that if the town or the county requires a renter's license, the landlord cannot collect rent. If you pay the landlord, that's up to you, and the landlord can accept it. But they cannot ask you for rent. I did not know that.
Wow.
So she tried to say, because I was not licensed, she tried to say, I want all my money back. Of course, it was a frivolous lawsuit. The court will not go back, just in case anybody's getting any ideas. The court will not go back and say, we will do this, but it was a stall tactic on her behalf. Wow. Yeah, because as long as we're tied up in court, I can't do anything with her.
You can't do it. So what does so do she get to keep her month, the rent? She don't have to pay you no rent while the proceedings is going on?
Correct. As long as I'm not licensed. So then I went and tried to get the license because I'm like, I didn't know about this rule. And so I went and I went to the town and I'm like, you're the only town where I'm at. The county doesn't even require a license. You're the only town. And, you know, the lady's like, yeah, we just kind of threw it up on our website during COVID. So you're not the only one in this position. And I'm like, really? Okay. So I went to get the license. They have to have an inspector come out. The inspector came out and said nothing was wrong.
Okay.
He was about to grant the license. She went down there again. So I'm probably missing some stuff because we went to court a couple of times on this. Okay. So then she went down there again.
All you gotta do is just read the book.
Yeah, just read the book because it's there. It's chronologically. It's chronologically there.
You know, you can tell it's a lot.
Yes.
You know, that's a lot of stressful stuff that you talking about.
It is a lot of stress. And I'm glad I was on that spiritual journey at that time because I swear it was almost like it was the duality. It was almost like old energy festering up. Like, oh, you want to get right now? We about to mess with your whole world. So, so she went to the town and said, your inspector lied. He missed XYZ. And so then the town, instead of using their logic, the town is like, well, we have to re-inspect. And I said, you don't trust your inspector? Like what are we doing? So anyway, the inspector ended up coming out. I met him there with a contractor. This woman, mother and brother, locked me out of the property. I'm banging on my own property door when the inspector was there. And then they locked him inside, so they held him hostage, right? I was like, poor guy. He could not read the room worth anything, okay? And it was like he went in, I'm outside, I'm banging on the door until I realize I'm acting out of character. I'm reacting. So, okay. It's fine. So then when he tells them nothing's wrong, because I'm ear to the door, he's like, nothing's wrong. They're yelling at him. No, something's wrong. Like trying to force him to. So anyway, he comes out. He calls the town. They issue the license. We had court the next day. This woman would not get out of my house. And even then, the judge looked at me and said, because I was representing myself, because I'm thinking I have text messages even to this day, and I'm keeping them. I have text messages from day one of her moving in. I have all of my records. Like I said, I'm not a slummy person.
Is it still going? Is it still ongoing?
No, but just in case, it's insurance. It's insurance. So, I presented everything to the court. What I also learned for anybody that's going through this is, the judge will not beforehand read anything that you present. If you're not being represented by an attorney, they get on the stand and they act like they're dumb. And I'm just sitting here like, I used to work in a law office, and so I knew how to prep stuff, exhibits, boom, boom, boom. I submitted it the way that when I was working for an attorney, he would have. And she got on the stand. She said, I'm confused. And you know what they do? Now, fortunately, in my county, they kind of move quicker, because I know here, where we're at now, I know it's backlogged. But they pushed it out, continuance. And I'm like, you're kidding. Wow. So while this continuance is going on, who's paying two mortgages? Exactly. You know what I'm saying? She's not paying a dime. She's just sitting there. And so so when it was continued, that next date, she pops in. And the reason I'm going through this is because there's somebody out there that is renting property, that wants to do good, that has a pure heart, that really wants to help somebody or a family in need. And you need to understand the obstacles that you will face whenever you come up against somebody that really does, like Rich said, try to take advantage of your niceness. The continuance happened. I submitted all of my documents. The day of the continuance, she shows up with an attorney. You know what the courts do when you show up with an attorney that you hired the night before?
What's that?
They continue it again.
Another
continuance. So she's stalling. Meanwhile, the mortgage is getting paid by one person. She works for a government agency. She has a nice little GS-12 check. She gets child support. Wow. This woman was not incapable. Okay. As a matter of fact,
she was using the system.
She was using the system. Okay. And so it was continued again. I ended up spending money on an attorney, money I did not have, nor did I prepare for, on an attorney who wanted a $5,000 retainer just to even look at my case. After I submitted to the attorney everything I submitted to the judge.
Same, the judges and the attorneys, they work together. So once you realize that, it make your life a little easier.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But my thing is, where's the justice?
Have you seen the scale in the back of the judge? You see the scale.
I mean, really, it's like because I'm saying it and this dude's not saying it, because I'm telling you, because I'm presenting it. To me, that don't sit right.
You got to pay to play.
There it is. And so when I finally hired the attorney, what we had to do to get her out of the property was settle. She could take for the times that she could take the rent, upwards of $6,000 for the months that I was not licensed, which again is unfair because she lived in better conditions than a lot of people.
Wow.
So why not just, you stayed there, right?
So she used you not being licensed against you.
Yep.
And all this time you was giving her gifts for Christmas?
No, the first year.
Oh, the
After
first
the
year.
second
Okay,
year, I
okay.
wised up a little bit, and I was just like, okay, we
Well,
kind of buying
that's what
time.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
But when you met her, you was doing all
I
of that,
was.
and she still used your
She
kindness
sure did.
against you.
She did.
So how did it end?
So we settled for her to leave by December 31.
Mm-hmm.
And even then she asked, could she stay? She asked her attorney to ask my attorney, can she stay? And my attorney was like, no. And the only reason that I think that she signed the agreement was because a stipulation of that was she wanted our case sealed.
Wow.
And so that's how she is moving around the system, because I found out that she has other cases sealed.
So this is not her first.
This is not her first rodeo.
Wow.
Yeah. So so yes, you can seal cases, guys, but if you're trying to seal something, there's a chance that the judge will deny it. So just FYI, let's not play that game. So so luckily the judge denied all of that. But yeah, no, it's not on. We're done. I'm rid of that energy. But that's the long story to how that book came, because I was going through the toughest time trying to wrap my head around, even though I knew I put myself in this position by not being firm. It was the audacity.
Gotcha.
It was the lengths that she was going.
The stress.
You know, where it was a bit difficult to handle. So
Taking time out of your busy schedule just to go to court.
absolutely.
The unnecessary.
Absolutely.
That
Wasting
is
court
crazy.
resources.
So no, yeah.
I mean,
no, that is crazy.
Seriously. And
yo.
it's happening all over the country. At one point I said, well, I'll probably sell the property, but then she's winning.
Yeah.
This is asset for me and my son, and we're good. So so that's how that particular book came about. And going back and circling back around, as you read, even though people might be drawn into the story, that
It's not. That was just the surface.
yeah.
You dug deep into spirituality. You dug deep into growth. You dug deep into your childhood and certain levels of energy that you had, that you can see certain things that others did.
Yeah.
Touch on that a little bit, because I'm gonna get back into how to, like, I'm gonna let you.
Yeah, that's fine.
You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get back into how she write books, the process that you go about writing books. She's gonna tell you all of that, but we got to really talk about this book, because this book is very, very interesting, man. And in the spiritual sense, if the title gets you, I promise you, once you read this book, it will change your life and the way you look at things, man.
I love that.
So
I love that. Now, what was your question? I'm sorry.
my question is, after you learned that lesson, right? How did you translate this event into spirituality?
I was already on a journey. I think that it was in the cards for me to go through that.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is in late January, early February of 2023, before all of this really happened, she was always late, but we never had contention.
I got you.
So it just so happened that my spirit was calling for more. My spirit was calling for more. It was just calling. You get what I'm talking about, okay?
Trust me, I got
So
you.
yeah, it was calling for more. And then I started this journey, and I mentioned the guy, Reverend Justin Terry, in the book. He was hosting. I received an email, and I had a reading from him before, and it was very on point. And so he was doing a spiritual development workshop, and it was like 3 months long. So I attended that weekly, and it was an all day event. I mean, sometimes I would sit there and fall asleep on his class, or maybe not have the energy to go, but I was like, my spirit needs this. I don't want to watch the recording. I want it in real time. And it just so happened that I did that.
Okay.
And that gave me the foundation of learning how to meditate, learning to trust my intuition, learning how to not react.
Got you.
Just kind of So by the time she started all of this was May, June.
Okay.
I'm coming right off of a development course and all of that. So that's where it kind of groomed me. I was being groomed as I was going through this process.
Gotcha. So they say the toughest times is where growth happens. You know, and me, when I speak of spirituality, I speak of a way of life.
Yes.
Because I look at it like, you know, being successful is spiritual.
Yes.
Even creation is spiritual. Because you transcend from not just transcend, but you transcend from the physical, from the mental to the physical with just an idea that comes to matter.
Right.
You know, so when something like this happens to you, it sends you on a journey, right? It sends you on a place on a path where you have to really find out who you are. So my question to you is this, right? What did you find out about yourself after this incident?
After this incident, I found out that I need a property manager. That's what I found out. I found out that I'm not going to change who I am.
Absolutely.
Because I'm not going to allow that to become allow me to become a bitter, a strong, like a bulldog. I wasn't going to let that do that. That's not my nature. That's not my temperament. So I realized I got a property manager. So now a tenant just, got into the property and there's a company handling that. Okay. So that's what I learned about myself.
So throughout this whole journey, right, as far as like this whole spiritual journey, right, because I went on mine, I'm still actually going on mine, right, where it's a process. It's a process. You have to really not, you got to really humble yourself when it comes to certain things, because there's a lot of things that they say ask and it shall be given, right? There's a lot of things that sometimes we ask for that we're not ready to receive.
Correct.
So the universe showed me certain instances of myself that I didn't know that I had, and it was ugly.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It was ugly, and it's, you know what I'm saying? So through my journey, I realized that there's a lot of things that I have to change within myself. Right. And in order for me to grow or to be better for somebody else, I have to start first with me. Right. You know, our ancestors, they believe in spirituality. They believe in divinity. They believe in they believe in what's the word? They believe in transmutation from thought to matter. You know, so in order for you to really actually change yourself, you have to be one with yourself. Correct. You have to sometimes get rid of a whole lot of things around you in order for you to really, in order for you to change.
Absolutely.
You know, so let's speak on.
Can I say something really quickly? And you know, what you said is so true. And when you introduced me, you gave me a lot of adjectives, a lot of them that I like. And you asked me who I am and what titles I hold. And I gave those to you. But really, Rich, I am. Okay? I am. Like that's what it is. And so I definitely understand where you're coming from with that. Absolutely.
Yeah. And you know, we have like I said, this is not an interview, this is a conversation.
Yeah, correct.
And it's not just a conversation, this is more for education. Correct. Because I came here to actually listen to a lot of things that she has in this book. And we're not going to talk to you about a lot of them, because you got to go actually buy the book and read. She has more than just one book. And we're going to talk a little bit about a couple of them, and y'all can get a gist of what she's about. But you got to support this beautiful queen, man. You. But as far as senses, right? We have people think that the only senses is the touch, taste, smell. No, we have more than that. We have perception. We have clairsentience. We have clairvoyance. We have telepathy. We have claircognizance. You know what I'm saying? Our ability to connect to the Most High, to the source is way deeper than what people perceive it to be. So in order for you to get to that place, you have to actually decalcify certain instances of your life. You know, so my question to you is this, right? A lot of people don't really know how to. We're gonna touch meditation and prayer in a little bit, right? A lot of people don't know how to connect to the source that we call the all.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? What advice can you give a person that's stuck between trying to transmute the physical into the higher power?
That's a good question.
If that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So I used to be really success driven, and you know
Okay.
that deals a lot with ego. So I was the overachiever. I was the, if I saw you doing it, oh, you do what? Oh, okay, I could do this. You make what? Oh, I could do that. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I was that, and I was really driven on that.
Okay.
And prided myself on it. And to an extent, I still sort of do. However, in order to get to where you're talking about, you have to completely let go of labels, titles, your environment, like what is around you at this moment.
Absolutely.
There was a lot of people are fixated on, like you said, the five senses. So there was a point last year when I was going through this journey, especially when I felt like I was getting the hang of it. I was driving down the road and
Look, not to cut off your wisdom. When you tell stories like that, right? People don't believe. people like.
I was literally like,
stories like that. People. That's why I know that. That's why I know you laughing, because sometimes I would tell a person a story that actually happened while I was actually real in tune. They be like,
yes,
you crazy.
Okay, so you kind of got it.
I got you. That's why I know why you was laughing.
I would drive down the road, and it was like I started noticing automatically how one I was with the trees. That sounds so crazy, but the trees, the concrete, even the vehicle I'm driving, the energy that, everything is energy. Everything it looks solid, but it's moving. Even you and I, we're not the same as we were 10 minutes ago. You know what I'm saying? So I started looking at things a lot differently, and it was almost like a fog. It was like, oh, this is what it's like, right? But that was after waking up one day in late January or February and saying, I'm going to listen to this calling that I feel compelled to move toward. And from there, like I said, I took the spiritual development course, and I actually practiced, even if it seemed silly, even if I sat in meditation and I felt like nothing was happening. I learned how to go from, I would watch inspirational YouTube videos.
Okay.
And so I would go from, I would close my eyes and I would always have a fan on, because any other noise would kind of take me out of it. So I had to listen to the noise and the hum. And eventually I went down. It was weird. It was like I could go down to where my heart is. And all of a sudden I could start feeling things in the room. And I'm not talking about scary things. I'm not talking about poltergeist. I'm talking about I could feel that air.
Energy. Yeah.
Actually has a little substance to it, right? I could start feeling things. And I was just like, oh, okay. And then eventually I could start feeling and getting to know my spirit guides and who's around me. And I'm like, oh, this is what you look like. I mean, feel like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is what it is. And so I said, well, let me test this, because Justin Terry would tell us to test it. He gave us tools. And I said, let me test it. And so one day, because again, going back to how do people do it? You do it by continuously showing up for it. Okay. Even though you feel like nothing's happening, it is. So when I tested it, I was in meditation one day, and I asked, I said, give me something I don't know about my parents. Let me make sure that this is working. And a download came, and it told me that my mom had tripped. She didn't tell anyone. And that my dad got a ticket. Something about a car, seatbelt car. And I'm just like, okay. So I said, now I don't know how to approach them about it, because like, what am I saying?
Like, Mom, you got a ticket?
Like, what am I saying?
Yeah, Mom, you tripped?
Yeah, and then they be like, what are you in witchcraft? What's happening?
Yeah, exactly.
So I did ask my mom. I said, Mom, I have a feeling that you stumbled. And she said, yeah, I did. The other day I slipped on the rug. I said, okay. And then my dad was the hardest, because my dad was raised Pentecostal. This is a no. Voodoo. Yeah. So I said, how am I gonna approach him? So I just said, Dad, really weird question off the wall. Did you get a ticket recently? And my mom jumped in and she's like, yeah, he won the lottery. He won a lottery ticket. He was like, yeah. I said, but I'm not. And here's how I tested it real. Remember, I said in my download, it was a car. So even though he had a lottery ticket that hit, I was like, this don't feel this. So I was it was being tested. So I said, this don't feel like a lottery ticket, but okay. And a week later, he said, I just got a speeding ticket for not having my seatbelt on. I mean, not a speeding ticket. I just got a ticket for not having my seatbelt on. And he said, I think you jinxed me. That's what he said. I think you jinxed me. I said, no, I didn't. I promise you I didn't. But it let me know. And it showed me, I used that as, okay, it's showing me to trust my intuition enough to know that it wasn't lottery, because I didn't get that.
Intuition, that's part of your senses.
There it is. Yeah. And it also showed me it doesn't have to happen right then. Nah. It can be a week later. Yeah. And it's okay.
That's clear cognizant. The ability to have psychic powers and not know how or where it came from.
Well, I didn't know that, so I'm learning something new from you. You see,
that's what I'm saying, because we have so much ability when it comes to tapping into the source that we don't utilize because of lack of our diet. And when I say diet, I preach this all the time. Right. I just don't mean that the food that you eat is your surroundings.
What you watch, what you read.
What you watch is what you read. Is the people around you. Is the way what you teach your children. Is what your thoughts. So whatever your surroundings is, whatever your surrounding is who you are.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? You cannot evolve your surroundings until you leave, and it has to be either physical or mental. So the way you get to that source is you have to decalcify all of that.
You do, and a lot of people are stuck and don't know that they're stuck.
So how do you? That's my question to you, right? How do a person that's stuck watching this right now, what steps can they take to get to that higher source?
I'm going to be real. The way I was called, the way you were called, I don't think that that's something that you or I can influence. I think that they would have to be called even a little bit to say, I want, this don't feel right. I don't like arguing with my spouse every night. I don't like the way, hey, I just got bad luck. Yeah. I feel like they have to be called to want to do something different, and they have to follow that, no matter how crazy it seems, no matter how much fear hits. And then once they do that, it'll start to lead them down a road that they can connect with other like-minded people. Their environment will change once they begin to change. And so I know you and I see people all the time that are really stuck, and you're just like, I wish, but I can't. That's not.
You gotta travel your own
path,
and it's not easy.
Correct.
Like we could talk about like prayer and meditation, right? A lot of people don't know how to pray. A lot of people don't know how to meditate. Yeah. It said prayer is the way you send your energy to the Most High, to the infinite source, to the mind, and meditation is how you receive whatever that you sent. But when you pray, you have to be very, very concise. You have to be very specific about the things that you pray for, because they will ask you, if you're an atheist, whatever you call it, who you praying to? You praying to yourself for the things that you want, because nothing is never, according to the law of thermodynamics, right? Energy cannot be created or destroyed, right? So
it's transferred.
So it's it's only transfer. So you're not praying for something that's outside the source. You're praying for something that's already exists. Correct. So all you're doing is tapping into who you want to become. Who you want to become. That's it. That's it. So when you pray to that source, you have to be able to receive it through meditation. And a lot of people don't know how to. A lot of people will be like, Rich, I get a little bit distracted when I meditate. So how do I meditate? And I tell them, so from your point of view, right, what is the best way to pray, or what is the best way to meditate?
I really feel like if our attention spans nowadays are so small. Even mine at times.
Mine too.
Yeah, I think that's everybody, and I think that's the way of the world. I think that you just have to be intentional, and you don't have to be perfect, and you have to accept that about yourself. And you have to say, if God's my homie or if Source is my homie, we're gonna talk like homies.
Yeah.
That's just what it is.
See that?
You know, if it does have to be, oh, no, no, no. It don't have to be all that.
That's dogmatic. I mean, I get that.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying? Like,
so it's like the more you're comfortable with that, talking to yourself like, yeah, I got this. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, I'm talking this out, and it could be something like that. And from there, I think that our attention spans will start to grow into a point where we can have those downloads or have those prayers that are meaningful. A prayer I feel like should be well intended. Everything's about intention.
yeah.
It's not necessarily action, it's intention. So yeah, a prayer should be well intended. But even if that's saying, what was the thing that you said to me? I thought that was beautiful. When we did our interview, you said I meditated and I asked, you were a vessel. What was that? What was to tell them what that was?
I asked the Most High. I asked him. I forgot what I said.
But you asked that everything that comes through you.
Oh yeah, that's what I said. I said I asked the Most High, don't let this come to me. I wanted to come through me.
There it is.
That's exactly what I said, because when it comes to you, there's no action. But when it comes through you,
Correct.
you actually perform whatever task that the Most High gives you.
Correct.
So every time I pray for something, I ask whoever the source is for whatever that He's delivering to me to come through me. Because if you look at life, your children don't come to you. They come through you.
Correct.
You know, so everything comes through
Even
you
your talents.
in the form of energy and in the form of information, in the form of inspiration. You know, so when you like this, how I meditate, right? When I sit still, like when I will pray, like she said, you have to be intentional. Don't go in the prayer mode and be like, oh Lord, I don't know what's wrong with me, and that's what you're gonna get. What's wrong with you?
Right. That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
So you
right.
got to
That's
really
right.
be intentional
That's right.
and ask exactly
That's
what
right.
you want.
right.
I can't give you no examples,
right.
but you have to be actually be specific about the things that you want.
Absolutely.
You know, so but when you meditate, it doesn't matter how distracted you are. You will be distracted. Just focus and sit, and whatever comes in your mind, let it play out. Do not block it, because it will come and it will go.
Correct.
But the thing is, while you meditating, you are receiving everything that you pray for. They call it downloads.
That's it.
You are receiving everything that you pray for.
That's it.
But my thing to you is, be careful what you ask for. Don't ask for $1 million if you don't know what to do with it.
Right. Right.
You know, don't ask for certain things if you're not ready for it, because it will come.
Right.
It will
Right.
come.
And the mentality is everything too. This is one thing that I did learn on my journey. The dogmatic views don't really hone in or nor teach you. I remember even as a young girl, when people would say, pray for me, in my mind, I was like, pray for yourself. And it sounded so like, right? But like, you have that power.
Can I pray for you?
Like, seriously.
Because I don't know your thoughts. Even if you tell me, I don't know your thoughts.
I don't know it. You have that capability though. You have that direct connect with God. And I
was
feel
just
like
about
I
to say that.
always knew that. Because it was
Yeah.
like, why are you asking me to pray for you? I can assist, and people will say that and then not do anything for themselves.
But that's the intimate moment that you have with just the source.
That's it. That's it.
So
That's it. It heals worlds, you know. So yeah, that's one thing that I did learn was, and I listened to gospel. Shirley Caesar is one of my favorite gospel singers. She has something soulful about her. But when I listen to the stories in her music, or I listen to other gospel songs, because I do like gospel, it's always bump me out. Like, can we just high vibe real quick? Can we talk about what's going right? Why do we have to go to such a slow and sunken place and then ask for help when we are like, we're powerful. When you walk into a room, I'm sure people are like, that energy, man, that feel good. When I walk into a room, I know that's what it is, because that's what I'm going to bring.
Yeah, because that's how you think.
That's how you think.
The way you think is who you
That's
are.
how-
As a man thinketh, what they say, so shall you
Correct.
be.
We ain't special.
You know,
We're not special.
I mean, I consider myself special.
I mean, yeah,
of
you got
course.
that. For those that don't know,
Don't start.
when I walked in, he has 3 beautiful trophies. They're really huge.
Right.
I walked in. I said, "Oh, somebody got that." He said,
Right.
"What you mean? That's mine." I was like,
I toot
okay.
my own home sometimes, you know.
But no, that's what it is. You know, we're not special. We're just tuned in. We're tapped in. We're conscious, and so that's all.
we intentional.
Yeah, and it would be nice when other people get there, or when other people are there.
Yeah.
You know, it's beautiful.
You know, there's a saying that goes that our issues stands from our inability to sit still. Because when you sit still, right, you know what happens when you sit still, right?
Tell me.
You face your demons. Some people don't like to face, man. It's a dark. I've been there. It's a dark place.
Can I ask you this? I'm glad you touched on that, because I always kind of felt out of place when it came to what I've achieved.
Okay.
My successes. I always kind of felt out of place because I'm gonna be real. I don't have a traumatic story. I came from a 2-parent household. They've been married for 42 years. Nothing happened to me inappropriate. We were middle class. We pretty much got anything we wanted. I don't have a traumatic story. I have this story that you would want your kids to have.
Yeah.
I'm the product of that. And so when I say that, I never really felt comfortable in certain rooms where people had their story, or you see them on TV and they're like, this happened to me and now I'm this. And I'm like, dang, nothing happened to me. And I felt bad about that for a long time.
Why?
Because it felt like that was the propaganda that was being put out there. You have to go through something. Like I was just telling you about the gospel songs. You have to go through something in order so people
You have
not
to have a testimony.
You have to
right?
have some type of testimony. That's terrible. And really, you know, I had to grow into saying, no, I'm thankful because this is how I want to raise my son. This is how I'm raising them, you know, and this is how a lot of people want to raise their kids. And so I just never had real demons to face. And so if you could elaborate and enlighten me on what that's like, you know, to do that, because that's a world I don't know.
Yeah, but I think the saying that we all walk the path that we've chosen is very, very it's clear.
Okay.
Because reading your book,
Okay.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In certain precepts, you was talking about how you develop those powers when you was young.
Yes.
A lot of people from your walks of life, right, have that power. They still be tapped into that power, but the reason why they don't really follow it is because of their circumstances. They got too much money. They came from a easy household and this and that. So it gives them a level of comfortability where they don't have to do that. And a few always follow is like you be like, this is too much for me to just let it go. So let me see exactly what this is. And you are one of the few that actually follows your path. But a lot of, like, to answer your question, a lot of success or a lot of people that find their divinity, they come from struggle because that's what builds us. That's what builds the character. That's what put us through our search. You know, so sometimes, you know, I think this is just me, right? I think before we are born, we are given our
life path,
our life path. But the thing is, the only way that we realize it when we hear is tapping it back to the source that gave it to us.
Okay.
A lot of people don't do that. They don't. So they walk around here. I call them the walking dead, not knowing exactly what they're doing because you are. The thing is, your service to God is you giving thanks for Him bringing you here.
Absolutely.
Because if you know, and this is scientific, if you know the struggle that you had to go through just to get here, you will appreciate who you are. I think I left that on my Instagram stories one day. If you know the sperm cells that you had to fight just to get just one sperm cell into your mother's ovary, right? And there's a certain bacteria, right? Let me tell y'all this, right? This is crazy. When I learned this, it blew my mind, right? Once you survive all the billions of sperm cells flowing to your mother's ovary, right? The body looks at the sperm as an alien. So the first thing it tries to do is destroy it. You survive that. You survive gestation, and your mother gave birth to you. You survive what you call it. What's the word when?
What?
the mother, not you survived not just abortion, but what's the other one?
Miscarriage.
Miscarriage. You survived all of that.
Mm-hmm.
You was in triple darkness for 9 months.
Mm-hmm.
You came to light. And you telling me you have no purpose?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You telling me you have no purpose?
Absolutely.
You are here for a reason.
Absolutely.
But your purpose is to find out why you're here.
That's it.
That's the journey
That's
of
it.
life. Because once you find that out, you are able to translate that into your next life.
Absolutely.
But you have to find out why you're here. You are here to serve. But what service, you don't know. That's where your path. That's where your path lies. So, to answer your question, a lot of people in that come from humble beginnings don't really appreciate their gift.
Right. And that makes sense.
So,
And service, this is when you really go inward too, because service doesn't always look like fame. I don't want to be famous.
nah,
I
it's a difference.
I definitely don't want that. That's
It comes
a curse
with-
to me.
Yeah, it comes with a certain energy that you see it that you don't want.
I don't want that.
That you don't want, But sometimes, but then there's money and fame goes hand in hand. You got to find with duality.
Correct.
It's always
Correct.
balanced. It's always
Correct.
balanced. So once you balance it and say, you know what, I'm not going to compromise my integrity. I'm not going to compromise my character. I'm not going to
Correct.
compromise my energy.
Correct.
Unless Dave Chappelle.
right.
Certain things I'm not going to do. Even if I started it and I realize that this is not who I am, I'm
Turning
going
the
to stop
pad.
it.
Absolutely.
But some people, like I said,
Absolutely.
if you don't tap into that level of consciousness, you will never become one.
Yep.
So like I said, many are called, but a few are chosen,
Yeah.
which is true.
Yeah.
Which is actually true. So you have to actually.
And your act of service or your purpose could be taking care of your disabled family members.
Of course.
It
course.
doesn't have to be pretty, because there are
It just
people that
have
can
to be. It just have to be something that you do.
It's purposeful.
That's purposeful. And they say when you do something that you love, you never
That's
work
right.
a goddamn
That's
day in
right.
your life.
That's right.
So remember
That's
that.
right.
You have to do something that you love.
That's
And
right.
the rewards that you get, the money or whatever that you get from it is the rewards for doing what you love. It's a
Absolutely.
reward. Every action, there's a reaction.
Absolutely.
There's a law of cause and effect, the law of correspondence.
That's right.
If you read the Kabbalion, which I know you
I
read
did.
because I've seen
I
it.
did.
I looked at through
I did.
Instagram.
I
I've seen
did.
it. You know
I
the
did.
principles.
Yes.
The law of
Yes.
mentalism, the law of vibration,
Yes.
the law of rhythm,
Yes.
the law of gender,
Yes.
correspondence, cause and effect, all of that.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So once you dig deep into that and you live within them confines, you declassify whatever that is blocking you from the source.
Absolutely.
From the source. But a lot of people don't want to have this conversation because it's too much.
Well, I think that everybody through their journey, they have different lenses that they look at things through.
Absolutely.
And so even when I read the Kabbalion, that was last year when I was deep into, my journey. Do you know I tried to pick it up again recently, and it was like a foreign language. I was like,
but not to cut you off, right? But the Kabbalion is actually a foreign language because before the Kabbalion was written, right? About Hermes.
yes.
If nobody know about Hermes, it's Thoth. The god of wisdom, the god of alchemy, the god of, they call it Tristis Magistus because they always call them in threes.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So if you read the Hermetic principles wasn't actually supposed to be written. It was going from lips to ear. That's why it was going.
Okay.
So it was so occult, and so the teaching was so occult and esoteric that they were scared that if people actually wrote, if they wrote it down, people would steal it.
Right.
So once they wrote it down, you needed actually a master key to actually open their book.
Okay. I didn't know that.
That's how esoteric that whole teaching is. So when people used to invade Egypt and all of that, they couldn't get to it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Even with the emerald tablets, you see how long it took them to find out where the emerald tablets was, right? You understand what I'm saying? So that's how esoteric our teachings was.
Okay.
So I love the Kabbalah.
I
live by the Kabbalah.
Let me tell you what. When I read it, I was like, oh, everybody needs this.
What?
I understood it. And it was like, boom, boom, boom. And it was going in. And it shocked me. And this is why I say everybody sees things through different lenses at different times. So if you're watching this and you're not here yet, that's okay. You'll get there.
Yeah.
That's okay. Keep showing up, because you might not be able to read read it or understand it, but you go back and you do it. And, you know, and there are things, there's a book that was difficult for me to read in the beginning. It was by a monk, and I cannot think of his name right now, but it was like, this is how you see, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the most difficult thing for me to read when I first picked it up. I was like, what is happening? It went over my head. I was not at that level. And so that's all I say. Like, the Kabbalion is powerful.
Very powerful.
But don't be discouraged if you're not yet seeing
so,
that.
like I said, it's so esoteric.
It is.
It's so esoteric. You got to actually
is.
sit down and really. Sometimes I pray before I read. Because like I said, I want to receive information in some way.
Correct.
And then I pray and then give thanks after I read.
Absolutely.
You know, so then after that, I meditate.
Absolutely.
So I asked the Most High, whatever that I was supposed to get from this book, I want to receive it.
Like, that's really good.
Saying? So
I like that.
Yeah, man. So I mean, spirituality, like I said, it's a way of life.
Yeah.
It's not something that you do. It's something that you are.
It is.
You know, you are
spiritual beings.
The essence of spirituality in etymology actually means breath. Period. When you know what I'm saying, there's no life without breath. There's no energy without breath. So you gotta understand this, right? When you breathe, you're being spiritual. When you do yoga, you're being spiritual. When you want when you want with yourself, you're being spiritual. You know, so everything, the nature, the animals, everything that happened in this universe is spiritual.
Correct.
So just tap into that. Even if you don't know how to meditate, walk around, sightsee. Look at the trees. Look at how the trees correspond with each other, how they communicate with each other.
Right.
That's spiritual.
Right, because
I
everything
get so
in nature,
when I start talking about everything is interconnected.
Really
you know
is.
that everything is interconnected,
is.
man. So you have to, like, once you start seeing things like that, you go in this rabbit hole. And then the thing is, once you start doing this, you're gonna lose some people. Be ready to be losing
and that's
people.
okay. Because they weren't ready for the journey anyway. That's okay.
Be ready to lose some people,
okay.
man, because they're not going to be ready for that. And then God, like, separation in some bottles, you can tell. Like this right here. Separation is always natural.
Right, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So some things is going to fall down and some things is going to go up.
That's right.
So
that's right.
That's what it is, man.
That's right.
So we're going to talk about another book.
Okay.
Well, we ain't going to go there now.
Okay.
Let's talk about the process in writing a book.
Okay,
right?
Absolutely. So the process in writing a book is first, what I tell people is that first you have to have an idea of what you want to talk about. A lot of people are scatterbrained, and that's not to their fault. It's just the way it is. So you really have to have a theme, a subject, and really nail down what you want to talk about. And well, what I tell people is the bubble maps. Remember we were in school and then you put the main idea and then you have all these other. I still ask people to use that method just because it helps them to see, and I think everybody kind of got their education around that. So each main idea would be a paragraph or a chapter. So a chapter, not a paragraph. So you put in the bubble, you put what you want to talk about, and then from there you draw another bubble. Now these are becoming your paragraphs, what you want to talk about. And it's going to look crazy, but I'm making it easy for you to write to something.
Gotcha.
Another way, if you don't want to do a bubble map, is you can list it out. Like chapter 1, I want to talk about losing weight, how it felt, and then a bullet, how it felt to be heavier. What journey did I start? You know, that type of thing. And then you can start building out your sentences from there. A lot of other people will just write. So what I do and what I recommend for people, because people say they don't have time to write. That's the biggest complaint. I don't really have time to sit and write a book. You do. Because what I even use a lot of times is I will do from my phone a voice memo.
Okay.
I will also do the voice to text. And I will save that in a Google Doc.
Okay.
The reason why I use a Google Doc and not just have it on my phone or not just sit at a computer and type, I use a Google Doc or something on the shared drive so that I can access that document from any platform.
Got you.
Or any device. So you just write until your heart's content. I mean, again, you can say whatever you want in your writing. And then there's the process of once you write it, then you need to hire a professional editor to come in and do it. I cannot say that enough. You need to hire a professional editor to look over your book and tell you what's missing. Look it over for grammar, look it over for other nuances that may or may not be present in the book. And that editor will cost, but don't be cheap. Again, before this podcast started, you said anything you put your name on, it has to be right. Exactly.
Got to represent you.
So you can't put something out there. And this was a mistake that I made. So I'm actually helping those not make the same mistake. In my first book, I thought I was born a writer. I can also edit. Not the case. That book has so many grammatical errors. It's so embarrassing. I mean, it is like,
oh, wow.
My professional eyes today will look and be like, what was I thinking? And trust me, if you're not a professional editor or you don't hire one, your book is going to be looking crazy too. And I'm going to tell you, when I published that first book, I did receive a review where somebody said it's poorly edited and it was rushed. That's because I thought I could do it myself. You don't want that type of review on your book. So after you do your draft, you then hire an editor. Depending on your book, your editor may range between $1,600 and $3,600.
Okay.
It may be a little bit more, but that's about the average. Just to help you get it together. After the editing process, and then you can focus on either the marketing, like the pre-sale, like the ordering is coming out. You can start telling people about it. You can hire people to do that. You definitely want to think about if you want to self-publish or hire a traditional publisher.
Gotcha.
If you hire a traditional publisher, you do need a literary agent.
Wow.
That will shop your book to the publisher. And the publishing house, what they will do is they will either accept your book, which they accept very little. It's like trying to get into Harvard. You accept your book. But then they, or put it in the rejection pile. If they accept it, then you get a royalty. They could tell you to change the name. They don't like the character.
Wow.
They don't like the title. In today's world, who wants to give up that much control over their product, right? So when you self-publish, you're putting up all the costs, but you own everything. I mean, you can do it however you want. It's a lot more legwork, but it's worth it. And then after the marketing, so I talked about the publishing. So those are the steps.
You got to get LLC and all of that.
Yes. So I recommend you get an LLC. You don't want to do shiesty business. So yes, my company is 6 Sense Publishing.
Okay.
And so I'm in the process of getting it trademarked because the last thing I want is somebody trying to come and talk about you can't use this. So that trademark application is in, but it's 6 Sense Publishing. It is registered in Maryland. Okay. I do have business expenses from that. Separate accounts. So don't try to merge stuff. Like do things the appropriate way. If you need to talk to a financial person, then do that. So yeah, I do recommend you getting a publishing company to do that. You copyright. So people think copywriting is difficult. You just go to copyright.gov. It's the Library of Congress. Am I saying that right? Yeah, I think it is. So copyright.gov, you upload your file, which is in a Word document or a PDF. That's how these books are. I mean, it's printed out as a book, but it's a Word or a PDF document. You upload that. That's $65. Now your stuff is copywritten.
Wow.
And then you buy an ISBN number. You go to Bowkers, 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 and I think it's .org. And you purchase a ISBN, that's probably another $25. This is stuff you could do. It's affordable, it's attainable. One thing, if you publish on the Amazon platform and you have them, you don't own your ISBN, they will give you one for free.
Can you tell them what an ISBN is?
Yes, the ISBN, hold up the back of the book. The ISBN is that barcode. The ISBN is that barcode. I own that barcode because I paid the $25 or whatever it was. If you just upload your file, Again, it's always going to be either a Word document or a PDF. And then the book covers something different. You can get like a graphic artist, they'll do it in Adobe Photoshop or something. But if you upload your document to Amazon and allow Amazon to give you the ISBN number, which is only $25, Amazon small print says you cannot then sell it on another website.
Are you serious?
So you better pay that $25 because or whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? So so read the fine print on everything. Don't be hasty to do things. Don't be hasty to put your book out. Sometimes time is needed between events because life happens.
Yeah.
And I purposefully didn't wait until I was finished with the tenant to write this book because I said, I'm not giving her that. That's not you know. That's not what the book's about.
Exactly.
Life is always going to happen. I might run into her 10 years from now. What I'm a
Exactly.
no. It doesn't matter.
Control your life, your reality. So I get that.
Right where you are, but only put it out when it feels right, and don't be afraid of what people say. And yes, you can put factual events. A lot of people are scared to put people's names or pay. Now, a professional editor will help you tactfully do things, okay? Because we're good with words. We're like wordsmiths. But you know, a lot of people are afraid that they will lose friends or family if they knew their deepest, darkest secret. But look at all the people that you're not helping because you're afraid of this few. That honestly, I'm gonna be real, are not even gonna read your book anyway. Because what friends and family really support you to that level?
Man. Look.
So that's the process. I hope that was helpful.
That was a good. Hopefully y'all took notes. That was a good breakdown. All right, you know what I'm saying? Hopefully y'all just rewind it back if you don't get it and take notes. All right. We're gonna talk about one more book. Okay. And I just want you to give them a summary. You don't have to go through that whole book. You know what I'm saying? This book is there's a quick summary. You don't have to go through the whole. This book, 2 divorces, a kid, and a career.
Absolutely.
Talk about it.
2 divorces, a kid, and a career is me struggling with 2 divorces, a kid, and career. Or not even struggling. That is the wrong term. That's the wrong energy term.
I got you.
Me coming to grips with, me accepting 2 divorces, a kid, and a career, you know, because before I had my son at 30. Before that, I was very career driven. I did not want any children. I got married my first time at 24. We were way too young to get married. That was gone before, you know, it started. And then when I got pregnant, I was 6 months pregnant when I married. And that was because society said, go in that direction. But I knew since I was 15 that I didn't really want to get married. I wasn't traditional.
I got you.
So 2 divorces, a kid, and career is talking about how I knew in my heart that I was non-traditional, but I still ended up going with societal norms.
So you know what I'm about to ask you, right?
What's that?
Why did you do it again?
I was pregnant.
Okay.
6 months. And when it hit me that I would have a different last name than my child, again, I come from a 2-parent household.
Gotcha.
I didn't know what a separated household looked like. I had no idea.
Gotcha.
So now I'm figuring that out.
So what will readers get out of this book?
Readers will be empowered by that book, and understand, just like the young lady. Can I say her name?
Yeah, go ahead. You can say her
Okay,
name.
Visha.
Yeah.
Okay. Just like I was talking to her before the podcast, and she said that resonated with her because she's going through the same thing.
She said that was exactly her. That was verbatim.
Okay.
We said,
okay.
I had the books placed right there on top, and she was like, she looked at all 3 books, and the first book that resonated to her was that book. She said, "This is me, Rich."
Yes.
What did she ask you for when you first walked in?
A copy
of the book.
A copy.
And she was going to pay you for what you tell her.
I told her no, ma'am, ma'am, because I connected. You know what I'm saying? Like no. So, but yeah, that's talking mainly to anybody, but mainly to women, to let them know like it's like you're good.
I want to play you something, right?
Yeah.
I want to play something for you.
Okay.
I want you to expound it. It called me a little bit. I'm gonna play it for you.
All right.
I'm gonna find it for you too. Hold on.
I have to shout out your camera crew too.
Yeah, shout them out.
Very good. What's their? Can we say their names or no?
Yeah, of course.
What's the name? Black Crown 202. Oh, Black Crown 202. I love it.
Oh,
He's
let me
going
go-
like this, y'all, because
let me- let me-
they're absolutely
Let me go on your
amazing.
Instagram real quick, man.
That's your Instagram too, Black Crown 202.
Let me
Black
go on
Crown.
your Instagram real quick.
Okay.
Pardon me, y'all.
Okay.
Kind of. Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna play one more time.
Define our relationships, and they really don't. Today's relationships require a level of effort that wasn't present in the past. In the past, people got married for business reasons, status reasons, and familial reasons. But even back then, great granddaddy and granddaddy were still cheap. Grandmas were unfulfilled. Partnership or spouseship has evolved. Now it requires a level of effort, a consistent level of effort. This is why it's important to take things, because at first it's all good, right? But over time people get tired. So you get to understand your level of effort and get to understand that person's level of effort. And you don't want to make life decisions based upon inaccurate data. I'm willing to do X, Y, and Z for you in exchange for X, Y, Z. Or because I know XYZ makes you happy, but I'm hoping to get XYZ in return to make me happy. That level of effort and those exchanges over time will tell you if this relationship is right for you and if you should move forth into a lifetime partnership, or if it's just something that's a companionship for now. And companionships are okay. They're okay.
Wow. Wow. that was so profound. That was so profound because I went through your page and that was so profound when it kind of like it touched my heart. So
Expound upon
can
it.
you
Absolutely.
expound a little bit.
So we are no longer in the days of getting married or being with someone because we need stability. There may be a few segments out there that are, or other cultures that do, but for the most part, we in America here no longer need to be in a relationship because of stability. We're living longer. I don't think that you should make life decisions at the age of in your teens or in your 20s. I don't even think in your 30s you are fully capable of understanding what you want and what you need, because you're constantly evolving. And I feel like life needs to constantly mold you into who you are before you try to merge with someone else.
Absolutely.
Both of my parents are 70. They've been married for 42 years. My own mother today says, I don't think people should get married. And she's happy. Every morning they go out to breakfast. They travel together. They're happy, but she understands they're of an older mentality. She does not feel like, she feels like me, whereas, this younger generation, one, she said it's too easy. It's too easy to get caught up. It is. Not only is it too easy, it's too easy to be distracted. There's more opportunity. Women, shout out to us, like we're doing a lot of stuff.
Shout out to the women. They're making way
That's
more
it.
money than
That's
we
it.
are
And you
right
didn't
now.
really sound happy when you said no, I'm joking. I'm joking.
I'm doing all right. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing all right. It's a systemic thing. That's a whole nother conversation, but we doing all right. Hey, look, shout out to the men, man. Shout out to
No,
shout out to the men. We doing okay.
But it's one of those things where I looked at when I went through my first divorce, I told you I knew I didn't want to get married.
Mm-hmm.
But when I went through that divorce, it was very painful because we got married at the Newton White Mansion. We spent all this money on the wedding, received all these gifts in front of, family and friends. And then 8 months or so later, we're getting a divorce. That's embarrassing.
Wow.
That's devastating. Even though you're okay with the decision, it's like, wow, now it's like you're divorcing everybody else or you're betraying people. And so I started looking up how a marriage originated. And I learned that the way that it's traditionally done in front of a judge, if you're a magistrate, if you're at the courthouse, or in front of witnesses. That was a Roman thing that was put out there, because back even during the slave times or whatever, you would jump the broom. So everybody has their own tradition, right? Here, it's more of a legality. You sign a document, and if something happens to me, then you get it. But really, you could do that in your will. I'm gonna be real with you. You know what I'm saying? You don't need to get married for that. So the aspects of marriage that they were 50 years ago, 100 years ago, aren't necessarily applicable to today, just because the dynamics have changed. People have evolved, more opportunity. And I think that's beautiful. I think that's so beautiful. So to me, I just am an advocate for, word this properly. I'm just an advocate for don't rush into anything. Like, get to know you and who you want. So that's where that clip was coming from.
So it was beautiful. Do you think? And I'm guilty for this. I'm learning. I'm growing. So I do better moving forward. But I'm dead serious.
Okay.
Like, it's funny, but it's not. I made my mistakes. And I have taken a hell of accountability when it comes to that. Even some of the things I realized I didn't do, but I had to do that to release the energy.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? So I can heal. So do you think that do you think relating in the beginning of relationships, right? Do you think people ask the right questions? Or
no?
That was my point. Because I said, I'm guilty of that.
No.
I get caught up in the lust. It's not love, it's lust. Lust is not temporary. Lust is temporary.
Absolutely.
Love, you know what I'm saying? I get caught up in that. And next thing I know, your feelings all involved and everything, it's not just too late. Everything is in front of you. And, you're so connected with the person that, if you're not strong enough, you stay with that person. I know some people, just like you say, your mother and father been happily married for a certain long period of time, and they're happy. I know some people right now that sit in my chair that been married for over 20 years, but they're not happy with each other. The reason why they stay together is cheaper to keep her. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? He out there doing his thing with whoever, and she out there doing her thing with whoever, but they know each other has the agreement, like, look, we're going to keep this household because we connected, we invested in so much, but the love that we have between us is done. So you're going to go do your thing, I go do my thing. We just come home and do our thing. I don't really think that's the right thing to do. So I think the tough questions need to be asked in the beginning of a relationship. And sometimes if the person don't want to answer the tough questions, which hasn't been me a lot of times, don't be with them.
That's it.
Do yourself a favor and walk away.
Can I say that I do background checks? Period.
That's a good thing.
Again, I used to work for an attorney, but also the reason I started doing that was because when I was 19, I had a 32 or 36-year-old man who, I didn't know it because you're young, was preying on younger women in the area.
Wow.
And he fed me everything I wanted to hear. I was supposed to be at Bowie one night, and I ended up going over his house somewhere in D.C. I'm not familiar with where I was at, but I ended up going there. And as soon as I got there, he said, "Hey, where'd you park?" And I told him. He said, "Oh, no, hand me your keys. I'll, go there." I'm supposed to be at Bowie, so my parents don't know where I'm at.
Wow.
I'm handing this man my keys, and my cell phone battery is about to die. And so I don't have anything because we were supposed to be going out. So I don't have a bag. I don't have anything. This man, let's say I got there at 8:00. He did not come home until 5, 6 in the morning. I didn't know where I was. My phone had died.
Wow.
And when he came back, I heard him, and he was with a friend of his, and he opened up the door. He allowed his friend to open the door. He didn't know I saw him out the window. He allowed his friend to open the door. And when his friend opened the door, his friend said, "Blah, blah's not here." And I said, "Oh," he looked like he was trying to do something. And I said, "Oh, no, I see him right here." And then he came in, and I'm sorry. And it was just weird. It was the weirdest thing, but I'm young. I don't have experience.
Very
okay.
impressionable. Yeah.
So the next morning, his friend comes back, and the guy is just apologizing to me. I'm so sorry. And I'm like, "What are you apologizing for?" Well, he ends up faking his death. Okay, so he ends up faking his death, and I went for the okey doke, and a friend of mine who was streetwise, she was like, "Girl, no, this man faking his death." So what I did was, I remember where he was. I bought a little card. Sorry for your loss. Put it on the friend's truck. Drove to DC, put it on the friend's truck, and then the guy who faked his death called me and was like, I don't want to talk to you no more. So obviously he was married and had something else going on. I just didn't know. So he prayed on me. From there, I was devastated again. Got, I guess, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm working at an attorney's office. I know how to do the background checks, which is very easy. Anybody can do it. Everything is public. And so I did the background check. This man had a rap sheet of sexual assault, assault with a deadly weapon, impersonating a police officer. It was 2 pages long. And I was just thankful that I wasn't a part of whatever he had planned. That my experience only went but so far with him, because Lord knows what else could have happened. So from there, I started doing background checks on people. Okay, if you got a ticket, whatever. It's okay, but let's see if you're gonna be upfront when we're together, right? And then exactly, but I'm looking and I know. And so then I asked questions. Have you ever been diagnosed with anything that you're taking medication for? Like, I asked those questions because my thing is, don't waste my time, and we shouldn't be wasting yours either. You know what I'm saying? If you're not going to be at least upfront.
Got to be honesty.
So I am. I'm a very open book. A lot of people tell me, but because you gotta be. You gotta be.
You gotta, because the thing is, like with me, it's either you're gonna accept me for who I am, or you're gonna move on. But trust and believe, I come with enough for the next person to accept me. And you can say it's overly confident or arrogant, but it's not. I'm just like, I will tell you exactly what it is, which I haven't in my past, but now I will. And then, you know what I'm saying, because I have a lot of value to contribute to you. And I want the same thing. It's called reciprocity. And that's what our ancestors used to base a lot of their whatever their way of life on. So if you can Google me. I got a rap sheet. You can Google me. I ain't lying. You know what I'm saying? So, but the thing is, that's my past. So
that's
do your homework, do your research.
Especially if kids are involved.
You know what I'm saying? I was just about to say that, especially if you've got kids. They can be grown, they're still your children. You know what I'm saying? You are welcoming somebody, welcoming them to somebody that they don't know. You don't want to bring energy transfer of that. What? Of course. So y'all do your homework when, like, ask the difficult questions. Ask them, especially the financial ones, especially the psychological ones, especially the philosophical ones, especially certain walks of life that you walk that they might not be walking on. You don't want to realize that 6-7 months from now that, you know what I'm saying, you tapped in and they're not, and they belittling whatever that you're doing. That's the energy that you don't want. And you don't introduce that energy to you. That's what happens when then your whole situation becomes a little bit calcified.
Absolutely. And, I think that people will be able to tell even without asking questions, because I often can sit back, as you and I were talking before.
With women, y'all have a hell of
but I'm
intuition,
about to hit some people to how they can look.
Gotcha.
How we were talking before, we don't let a lot of people in. We kind of sit back and we observe. And I observe. And if someone is talking about external things,
it's all about
your priorities might not be aligned with where I'm at. We might not resonate,
And it's okay to agree to disagree. We're just gonna go our separate ways. Not wrong with that. I'm a handsome guy. I'm gonna find somebody else. Oh, you a handsome, beautiful woman? Not handsome woman, but beautiful woman. Find somebody else. But at this point in my life, I have no time. I promise you, I have because I have so much going on for me, and I bring so much value that, you know what I'm saying? Like let's not waste each other's time. So, you got any more books coming?
Not that I can think of right now. Not for me. I am in the process of working with someone to help him bring his stuff when he's ready. I'm going to speak that into existence right now. I think his story and his books will be powerful. But nothing for me right now. Right now, I'm just working on a few projects. One thing about me is I can dive into the technical space and I can dive into the creative space.
Hey, DMV Illis Barbers, look. If y'all don't treat her right, I'm gonna steal her. I'm telling you. I'm gonna steal her. She's gonna be my co-host. I'm telling you. Nah, I'm just messing with. Shout out, hey, shout out to T.
Amazing.
Shout out to Ron. Y'all, my
Yes,
guys,
yes,
man. Like,
yes.
much respect from y'all, man. She's
Thank
a
you.
beautiful
Thank
soul,
you.
man. Any
No
last words?
Well, that was wrong.
Not like that. You know what I'm saying?
Any last words? Thank you guys
wisdom?
for listening. So obviously, if you made it this far, then there was something that resonated, that hit you. You can find me on B.F Glenn, all one word, B.F Glenn, GLENN _writer on Instagram. And then if you purchase the book, it has all of my contact information. I am on also bfglenn.com. And you can learn more about me a little bit more. You can read some of my writings. But if you're still watching, thank you. Thank you.
I got one more question for
I thought that was the closing. Oh, okay.
No,
Okay.
that's not the closing. We got a little bit more to go. Man, you on Rich Talk? You're going to talk that Rich Talk. You understand me? All right.
Okay.
Look, I got me all silly now.
That's good.
Look, right. When it's all said and done, I ask all my guests this. When it's all said and done, right, and you hang your boots up, hang your jersey up, right, what do you want to be for?
Kindness.
Elaborate.
I feel like my ability to navigate life by not having a traumatic story has given me the opportunity to see the positive in things, even though I just told you a situation that happened to me.
Hell of a virtue.
I didn't focus on it. That's not even in my story. That's not even a factor because I'm not giving it energy. You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So for me to be able to do that, I often come across people who are maybe in a lower vibrational state. No judgment. It is where they are. And when they see me, it brightens up. And then they can say, okay, well, I felt good. Her energy kind of rubbed off on me. I used to teach 8th grade English at Golson Middle School. Yeah, down in Landover. And a lot of the other teachers would say, where you from? You ain't from here. And I'm like, yeah, I am. And I showed up at work today. And you know, and the kids that were the problem kids, the teachers were done. And I was like, come here. Like sit down. Look. Now, you know, I was that teacher. I probably wouldn't be that today, but I was that teacher where it was like I was able to walk into that room and pull it out. You know, because they were going through things at home and I brought a certain level of, you know, whatever. So when I say kindness, I want to be known as someone who exuded the utmost kindness and peace and love. Yeah.
Got you. That's beautiful, man. Y'all hear that? Kindness is a virtue, man. You know, I think the black woman, right, is the closest thing to the source, the all. I think the black woman is the closest thing to the creator because she controls a certain aspects of creation. When you look at the word goddess, God is derived from the word goddess. When you look at the word woman, which is the womb of a man, man is derived from the woman. And then when you look at the word female, right? This is crazy.
Yeah.
The FE in science is iron.
Oh, I like that. I didn't know that.
Yeah. The
Okay.
FE in science is iron. So iron, the iron is iron personifies strength. So the iron, y'all the stronger male. Y'all the stronger version of us. Y'all are able to create and y'all control certain aspects in life that we can't.
I agree.
So I'm saying that to say I revere you, black
Thank
woman.
you. Thank
I
you.
revere you,
Thank you.
queen. Keep
you.
doing what you're doing. Keep
I appreciate
elevating
that.
people. You know what I'm
Thank you.
saying? And this was a hell
I
of a
appreciate
conversation,
that.
man. I
Yeah.
appreciate you. And I always put the black woman on top of my list because without
Thank
a
you.
black woman,
This is
whole
my comedic
universe would
side
not
coming out.
exist.
My mom is Native American, so I'm half black, half Native American. But okay, but thank you. No, but I appreciate it. I appreciate everything you said. Thank you.
No problem. No problem, Quinn. I appreciate you for taking time out your busy day to come to spend time with all.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. This has been a spiritual, intellectual conversation, man. I told you when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And I was ready, and she appeared. Hopefully y'all took something out of this, and hope y'all learned from this. We tapped into a lot. I share to everybody, man. Peace, love, and blessings to everybody, man. Y'all have a good night.
So please come.